So welcome to part 2 of the video series of Alton Towers, Nemesis Reborn. So I made a bit of a boo-boo, if I'm going to be honest with you, and I've arrived a bit too early at the hotel. So I've come over to the Costa Coffee and I've treated myself, and I'm going to do a bit of a taste test of new donuts. There we go. So this is the Oblivion one, no idea, but there is a warning label, so let's have a go. Not too bad, really. Quite nice. It's got a very... I know the filling is custard. You can tell from what's looking at it. Like, you can just see the custard in there. But it's quite a fruity taste. So probably strawberry, something like that. So that was quite a nice one, actually. Give that a solid 8 out of 10. Just leaves a bit of a nasty aftertaste. Anyway, the next one, without dropping everything and destroying it, is Haunted House, which I don't think you need me to explain what's on it and what it's themed around. Very chocolatey. So the Haunted House one is alright, just a bit too chocolatey for my taste. Probably give it about a 6.5. Just very over-facing with that one. I'm not a massive fan. Anyway, I've heard good things about this next one, and it isn't as big. The Smiler donut.
Well, hello. It's now time to kick off our live entertainment this evening with a really nice chilled out set, so you can sit back, relax, grab yourself.
Quite nice, that. Decent, not too facing that.
Everyone for the VIP event.
So that's the first big surprise of the event as well. They've got the rubber balloon that they used for the date launch.
This evening, very nice sunshine tonight. Welcome to the behind the scenes tour of the legendary Nemesis Reborn ride. My name's Simon Wardley and I am the Head of Entertainment Technical Design, Development and Operations here at the Alton Towers Resort. And next to me is John Wardley, who is our show control and systems engineer at the resort. Between us, myself and John, designed, commissioned and programmed the audio-visual elements that you see all around the ride and Forbidden Valley areas. So we'd like to take a few minutes to explain to you some of the elements of the audio-visual system in a bit more detail before you actually move on to the ride itself in a few moments' time. So when we say audio-visual or AV, what do we mean by that? So that can be things like the themed lighting that you see up on the gantry up there, the background audio system that you hear around the ride and all of the Forbidden Valley areas. It can be special effects like the smoke machines that you see in the tunnels on the ride, the pneumatic effects around the eye itself here, and also the centralised show control systems that tie all of those elements together and and synchronise everything perfectly every single time for every single ride cycle. Design for these elements takes many months to plan and prepare, and we actually started talking about these in late 2022, so a year before the actual ride itself opened. Once the systems were designed, it took a whole team of electricians, AV installation specialists, around 5 months working on site here and around Forbidden Valley to install and complete the systems on site.
We use a centralised Ethernet network-based show control for the ride and the whole of the Forbidden Valley area. And actually, we're standing now, there's thousands of metres of ducting and cabling buried underneath the ground, with control, power, signal cables, fibre optics, all spanning the whole of Forbidden Valley. And you might spot various manholes around the area and under your feet now, where cables and ducts intersect.
So moving on to the actual eye itself, as you've probably already spotted, it's not a real eye, it's an actual video screen. It's an LED video screen, unique to the Alton Towers Resort. It was custom built and designed for us by a specialist LED screen company. And the resolution of that screen is 1068 by 1068 pixels. So in total, it's 1,140,624 pixels altogether. And a pixel, this is an LED module from an alternate screen, but every single little square that you can see on here is a pixel. So there, in that screen, there are 1,140,624. Each of those can be controlled individually in its colour temperature and in its colour rendering, which is what creates the overall image on screen. So there's a very sophisticated processing system behind the eye that displays the video. It updates 60 frames a second, or 60 times every second, which is faster than the human eye can see. So basically it just appears as a seamless change of the eye and the movement of the eye, rather than us seeing the changing colour of the pixels.
The eye has 3 states. It's got a dormant one, waking up and angry, as the train passes directly overhead. The waking up and angry sequences are triggered by the ride control system when the train dispatches. So this sends a signal to the show controller, which sends commands in turn to the video playbacks, the smoke machine, and the animated claws around the eye itself. The claws themselves have pneumatic actuators behind them. That's an example of one, but these ones are bigger, which operate via compressed air. And so when the air is forced into one end, it pushes the ram out, and then when it goes in the other end, it pushes the ram back in again. And again, this is controlled from the central show control system. We also have an industrial high output smoke machine hidden in the top of the eye, which smoke from which passes through a compressed air system, which forces the smoke out onto the oncoming train. And then the audio is synchronised as well at the same time to make the creature roar, and there's a large subwoofer in the bottom to make the creature really come alive. So does anyone have any questions?
All good? Any questions? Okay. Thank you very much for your time. If you do have any questions, myself and John will be around all evening anyway, so feel free to catch up with us later on.
If you'd just like to follow me this week, make sure.
Stood back in February to announce the opening of the ride. We actually knew quite early on in the marketing campaign that the eye was going to be such a focal piece for the campaign, and therefore we knew that we wanted to do something with that for the PR stunt. You may have seen that when we launched the cursor at Alton Manor, we used a giant doll's house, and we knew how effective that had been. So we set about understanding how we could bring the giant eye to life. We worked with a manufacturer over in China that create huge lanterns, and so it actually gives us the capability to light the eye from the inside as well as externally as well. The eye is actually 7 metres in diameter, and we actually had 2 other prototypes about 4 metres, so we could get the eye that we really wanted, and all the Pantones used in the eye were actually taken from the theme book of John's. On the day, we chose organic choice for the considered over 25 locations across the UK. They weren't all on land, some of them were in the air, and some of them were actually underground in caves. But in the end, we landed on Cannock Chase. The team there were phenomenal, they were really fantastic to work with, and the Forest and Fish really supported us. The result was we had over 300 pieces of coverage for the eye to announce the date of opening. And when you combine all the circulation and readership of those publications, it actually means that the equivalent of the whole UK population would have seen it 3 at a time. So it's a hugely successful piece of the marketing campaign. And if you've got any other questions, please feel free to let me know.
No.
Just hold on to the railing there if you need it.
Okay. No way. Oh.
Yellow squares there that are lit. So that's the block indicators of the ride.
Yeah.
So the ride has 4 blocks. It's got your station lock.
Yeah.
You've got, after the station, you've got your station exit to the top of the left. And then you've got your free fall, and then that'll take you to the end of the service break.
Yeah.
You've got the transfer section. So obviously only one train can occupy a block at the same time. And then they're all indicated on them yellow ones there.
Yeah.
The big yellow squares are the block indicators, and then you've got your little yellow squares just around it, and they are speed proximity switches. So they read the speeds of the train as it comes through the brakes and just double checks that everything is getting the right speed, it's not underspeed, it's not overspeeding, and talks to the computer system and make sure everything is okay with the ride.
So you've got the ability to stop the train, and then 4 blocks of just obviously the brake.
Yeah, so on the panel there, there's some red buttons at the end. You've got your emergency stop, which you've got one there, you've got one on both host panels as well.
Yeah.
And then with the 2 red lights below it, that's a ride stop and a lift stop.
Yeah.
So if anyone gets a camera out, gets nervous, anything's needed whilst it's going out, I can stop it on the lift.
Yeah.
Or if I need to stop it on the lift or in the brakes or stop the ride completely, I can use the e-stop or the ride stop. I can reset the ride stop, but tech services will have to come and reset the e-stop, which that'll close all the motors, close all the brakes and cut any power to anything on the ride virtually, which means if there's a train in the station or anything, we'll have to manually release it. I've got a manual release bar here. So this is a manual release bar. This is what we use. It fits into the manual release pegs on the train. We lift it up and it'll release the harnesses on every row, on one row at a time, so we'll have to go back. But when we do it with people, we do it one at a time, just so we can watch people.
So if there was a problem on the track and the ride automatically stopped it,
Yeah.
who has the ability to override that? Is it down to one person or?
So obviously as soon as the ride computer detects that something's wrong with it, so it's not exactly wrong, but it's the computer, the sensors will disagree with something, so it'll act exactly in the way that it should act. It'll throw an error on here, it'll beep at me, I'll read the error, and then we'll call it down. We'll send people to host the trains to make sure all the guests are okay. Tech will come down, and if it's something they can reset with guests on board, then that's it, they'll go ahead and reset it. But anything to do with manual movement of the trains, block resets, we'll have to perform an assisted exit before they can do anything with the trains. So we'll have to get them all off, get them, see in the break room there's some steps. We'll get them, drag them over, and then we've got the silver platforms there on the lift. They connect to the base columns of each seat on the train. We'll put that in, put the front row bar, which is just where my colleague has stood. There's a front row bar that goes on the front to obviously stop you from going too far forward. We'll use this, pop it in, get you all to hold your harnesses down, and one at a time we'll release you out and walk you back down into the station, ready to continue your day. And that's how an assisted exit works.
I was backed off the brake run earlier.
Whereabouts were you sat?
Front row.
See, if you're a couple rows backwards, if you can see where the barriers are there, there's an actually exposed edge. So some people we do have to pop like a little belt around just to make sure they don't fall into the last corkscrew. But yeah, this is the operator's panel if anyone wants to have a look at it.
Any chance we can get
Can't go in, but you can take a photo from here and have a look at it.
get a shot at chains.
Welcome to Nemesis Reborn. That's what we are, just like two halves, two together.
Yeah.
Like that. Hold the rubber in, bearings inside. What we've got here is two different types of wheels. We've got what we call a soft wheel and a hard wheel. Hard wheels traditionally go a lot faster, wear on for a longer life. These guys slow the train down. So we have a mix up on the train to get the speed just right. These are side wheels and upstops. Pretty much exactly the same wheel. Two bearings, simple shaft through, and they're in the wheel boxes. You can see I have opened up the pods on the front two rows, so you can see the bogies underneath the pods. Down, and then clip back in to your chain, and that's what drives the train up the lift. This is the pivot shaft, through the bottom of your bogie, and this allows the bogies to move forward and back on the lateral.
So are you unique to fixing this one, or do you get called?
I get called to a whole host, so I am responsible for the valley, and I will go as far as runaway mine train. So runaway mine train, Curse, monorail, the valley area, Galactic Orders.
Mechanical, electrical, or
I am mechanical, electrical on CBBs, because I've got a few rides on CBBs, but I am mechanically biased.
Yeah. So if you get there and it's an electrical fault, you're straight on the radio to an electrician.
Depending on what the electrical fault is.
They like to have you multi-skilled, don't
Yeah, they do. So yeah, that's a typical day for me really. You're signing off the rides, going through the PPM checks, making sure she's good for everyone. And then once the ride is open, I fall into a reactive role, waiting for any kind of breakdowns, carrying on with any projects that might be going on around the park, that kind of thing.
So do you primarily clock on in the morning when the park opens, or are you based like when the park's sort of shutting now?
Yeah, so we have two shifts that run. We've got a 6 till 2:30 shift, so we come in at 6.
Yeah.
So from 6 to 10 we're out opening rides, getting it ready for all you guests and that. The 2 till half 10 shift will be reactive up until the park closes, and then it's like in reverse. Then we go and do our PPM work once the park's closed.
Happy days.
Join ourselves. So this is the brake run. Obviously the train stops here right now. Above us, what we've got is we've got some brake pads and some feed wheels. So on the new Nemesis Reborn, what we're having is magnetic brakes. So rather than friction slowing the train down now, it's magnets and friction. So here we can see some friction brakes. So these close, and then there's some pads on the train which basically cause friction and then slow the ride down. When they get to a suitable location, obviously slow down. The feeder wheels, which you can just see above you, will push it forward, just up there like that to the transfer area. And when you're taking trains off in the evening or after them in the morning, the feeder wheels are at the transfer track and also reverse the train backwards as well, so that's how we get the trains on and off every morning and night. You guys got any questions? So here as well is a panel used for tech services. Obviously you've got an e-stop, brake release, so in the event of like emergency evacuation or anything, we have to get the trains to release. What technical services would do would put it in manual. Obviously they'd press a button in the cabin, press the brake release here, and that would manually release these friction brakes here, allowing the train to move forward.
If there was a power cut, how would you release the brakes without the electrical side of it?
You'd have to wait until the power's come back on, really.
There's no mechanical override for the brakes?
No. That's obviously all safety procedure wise. So in the event of a power cut as well, the brakes automatically come on as well, in case obviously you don't want a power cut and then the brakes not to come on. So any time the ride's powered down, emergency stopped, anything like that, the brakes automatically close. They close, and then you can see just kind of at the top there, they kind of close onto there. Well, smashing. Any questions, guys?
And yet again, we end up here because I was not in the mood to do an outro after last night. I was absolutely knackered. Obviously, I couldn't really film the talk, Bianca did ask us not to film any of the talk, take photographs or anything like that, because there was quite a lot of images that would have spoiled the experience for the next group in next month. So I won't go into too much detail about that. What I will say is it was a lot of conversation about how Nemesis originally was conceived, how it was built, the testing process, and the original opening day with John Wardley. And then there was a second part with John Burton, so how he came into his position that he is today, how the retheme, or well, not the retheme, but the refurbishment of Nemesis came about, timelines, how, you know, he started working with John, opening day, how, you know, the pitches and all of that. Really, really enjoyable. It lasted about an hour, I'd say. You do get a photograph beforehand with all three. That comes at no extra cost, and that is done on your phone or camera or whatever you bring with you. So again, you don't need to pay anything extra. You do get the talk, which lasts an hour. Very, very informative. Quite interesting actually to hear it from some stories that they don't really talk about. And then yeah, afterwards to sign your photograph that you're due to have again free of charge, and if you want anything else signed, so like John Wardley's books or your lanyard or any hats or clothes or anything like that, then they will sign that as well. Once you go upstairs, that's when the backstage tour started, which absolutely phenomenal. That made the evening, that made the whole experience for me. Being up close to the actual track and to the lift hill and on that platform, honestly, one of the best things I've ever done, and I can't recommend it enough. I was a bit sceptical going in because obviously there was a lot of talk about how people were treated on the track walks, and I thought, are they going to say to us we're not allowed to film anything or take photographs or anything like that? But Bianca made it very clear you can film whatever you want. Once you're on that behind the scenes tour, everything's all access. You can film it, you can take pictures, everything was available to film basically. The staff on the night were absolutely fantastic. They were very knowledgeable, they knew what they were talking about, and yeah, it was a fantastic experience all in all. I'm honestly hoping that Alton Towers, Bianca, John Burton, whoever are planning another VIP event. I thought it was fantastic. I'd happily pay another £120 and do that all again. But yeah, absolutely fantastic. 10 out of 10. Couldn't recommend it enough. If there is another one, I highly, highly recommend you get on it, because you will not regret it. Anyway, coming up on the channel, in the next couple of weeks, we'll have some more shorts coming out from Alton Towers. I'm there for the next couple of weekends. We've got an event at Flamingo Land, so it'll be me and the Iconic Geek, and then a couple of weekends after, it'll be 1940s Day at East Lancashire, a couple more shorts from Alton Towers, and just anything else that we come around to do. So make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you got that bell notification on. Make sure it's set to all, so you get all the videos notified when it comes out. And yeah, thank you very much for watching this two-parter. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you later.